Let's imagine something. You wake up in a major city, not as a tourist, not on vacation, but as a regular person trying to make it through a Wednesday. You don't live in luxury. You don't have trust funds or passive income. You have a job, maybe roommates, definitely bills. And all you want is one normal day. But here's the question. What does a normal day cost in 2025? Not a wild day, not a fancy one. Just a regular middle-class grind. The same one millions are living right now in places like New York, London, Toronto, and Sydney. And what if I told you that normal is no longer affordable? Today, we're comparing the cost of one average day in 4 of the wealthiest, most developed countries on Earth. The United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. We're going to track 5 simple daily moments. Your morning coffee and breakfast, your commute to work, a basic lunch, a quick after-work beer and snack, and your trip back home. Will convert every currency to dollars to make things clear. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why so many people feel like they're falling behind, even when they're doing everything right. It all begins early, before the sun is up. You're exhausted. You barely remember what day it is. But you roll out of bed, throw on whatever's clean, and head to your usual spot. The barista knows your order. Medium coffee, breakfast sandwich, maybe a croissant if the paycheck just hit. It's not about pleasure. It's about function, jump-starting your body so you can show up. And here's what that costs. In the US, it's about $9. In the UK, around $8. In Canada, roughly $6.4. And in Australia, close to $6. Let that sink in. Before you've even earned a cent, you're already in the red. Coffee isn't a luxury anymore. It's a necessity you have to pay for every single morning. Now imagine doing this 20 times a month. In the US, that's $180 just to wake up. Breakfast in the US hits the hardest. One of the only places where starting your day already feels like a premium habit. Canada and Australia offer a softer landing, but let's be honest, none of this feels light. You head to the train station or the bus stop. You tap your card. The bus is late. The train is packed. You're stuck between a student and someone yelling into a phone. You're not going far, just downtown. But you're not going for free either. In the US, the ride costs about $2.5. In the UK, it's higher, $3.5. Canada comes in at $2.8, and Australia keeps it lowest at $1.7. Here's the quiet truth. Millions of people are taxed daily, just for moving. You don't get reimbursed, you don't get credit. But the system expects you to pay to show up. And in cities like London or New York, your commute costs more than breakfast, every single day. The UK quietly takes the lead here. For such a short journey, it's one of the priciest places just to move. Australia keeps things lean, but the truth is, even standing still costs money. You finally clock in. Get through the morning. It's around noon now. You're halfway through the day, and you're starving. You didn't bring lunch? You meant to, but life happened. So you grab something quick. Not gourmet, not organic, just warm and filling. A sandwich, maybe a burrito, a wrap. You eat alone or in front of a screen, 10 minutes, maybe less. And that costs, in the US, about $12. The UK is slightly higher at $12.7. Canada holds steady at $8. And Australia? Same at around $8? Let's pause. That's almost $250 a month just for lunch if you're not prepping ahead. And no one's talking about this. We shame people for buying coffee, but we never question a system where basic lunch costs the same as a streaming subscription, every single day. The US and UK serve up the same meal for a steeper price, and it's not about flavor, it's about function. Canada and Australia stretch your dollar further, but lunch shouldn't feel like a financial choice, and yet it does. You wrap up your shift, work ends, technically, but the weight of it follows you. You're too tired to cook, too drained to go home right away. So you do what millions do, you pause. You grab a beer, a hot dog, something small, something that says, you made it through. Here's what that costs. In the US, around $13. In the UK, about $9.5, sounds better? Canada comes in at $12.5. And Australia lands near $11. Think about that. A single beer and hot dog, not a night out, not a dinner date, costs as much as a gym membership per week. Even decompression now has a price tag. And for many people, it's a necessary expense to avoid burnout. Because going straight home, eating leftovers, and collapsing on the couch, that's not living either. The US leads the cost yet again. Even your briefest moment of peace comes at a higher price. Australia and Canada float somewhere in the middle while the UK keeps this pause more affordable. For now. Eventually, it's time to go home. You board the same bus, sit in the same seat, stare out the same window. You're not traveling to a second job or a side hustle or even anything exciting. Just back. And even that costs money. Which means we need to double the transport costs to include the return trip back home. Let that land for a second. You pay to go home. And when you arrive, you're not richer, you're not more free. You're just more tired and more broke. Once again, the UK charges the most just to return to your own life. The US and Canada aren't far behind. Australia keeps its transit costs low, but low doesn't mean invisible. Let's add it up. Daily total. United States, $39. United Kingdom? That's $34.3. Canada is somewhere in between at $37.6. Australia? Also similar to Canada at around $37.3. Now multiply that by 22 working days, the number of weekdays in a typical month. That gives us $858 for the United States, $754 for the United Kingdom, $827 for Canada, and $820 for Australia. That's not including rent, not including groceries, not weekends, not anything fun, not savings. Just the cost of showing up and doing it all again tomorrow. So when people say just budget better, cut the lattes. Stop eating out. Show them this video. Because the numbers don't lie, but the advice often does. It's not laziness. It's not poor decisions. It's not coffee or Uber or eating avocado toast. It's the fact that the basics of life are inflating faster than your ability to earn. Wages are flat, rent is rising. And now even your sandwich and bus ride feel like luxury items. So no, you're not broken. You're not bad with money. You're living in a system that wasn't designed for you to win. We're not anti-hustle. In fact, we love the hustle, the smart hustle. We believe in stacking income, building leverage, escaping the rat race step by step. But to escape the system, you need to understand the system. You need to know what things really cost, where the pressure is, and how to turn your financial reality into freedom. That's why the Money Manual exists. To give you clarity, not confusion. Real tools, not toxic positivity. And strategies that work in the real world, not fantasy land. If this video hit you, even a little, then you're exactly who we made it for. Hit subscribe to the Money Manual. This is where we decode money in real terms. This is where survival turns into strategy. Because the future doesn't belong to people who hustle blindly. It belongs to those who hustle smart, with their eyes open. And starting today, that's you.